We're back now with Father Paul Mast from Kent County, Delaware, who is also the author of The Street Sabbatical, Life Lessons of a Contemplative Beggar. He is a homeless advocate and he is a retired Catholic priest. I didn't know you could retire from the priesthood.
That word is used liberally.
Okay.
Retire from full-time ministry.
I got it. Now I understand. Now I understand. This is a wonderful journey, but I want to talk a little bit. You went to several cities. You went to Wilmington. What is the state of the homelessness and homeless, and are they being treated well here in Wilmington?
Wilmington is typical of most American cities where the homeless are somewhat problematic, and city officials and politicians are looking for solutions to offer social services to them, and particularly in the winter to have Code Purple options available to rescue them from cold streets and sub-freezing temperatures, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the larger picture is how to cultivate in cities a mindset of becoming a homeless-friendly city, not just with city officials, but also with its citizens, with bus drivers, with police, with civil servants.
Because the homeless are seen as a nuisance.
Yes.
To most cities, to most politicians, to most citizens.
Yes.
Most would rather, if the homeless are to exist, and this isn't me saying this, I think I am verbalizing this sentiment of cities. If they could be pushed away somewhere.
Yes.
And out of sight.
Yes.
You, I'm sure, disagree with that.
Not so much disagree with it. I see it, I see the homeless not as a problem, therefore we look for a solution. I see them as a challenge that helps to grow the hearts of politicians and citizens wider to hold more compassion to be given away to the homeless.
Let's go through some stereotypes of the homeless, and maybe this will help find that compassion. Most of the homeless either have mental problems,
yes.
Most of the homeless either are alcoholics, yes, or have drug problems,
yes,
and can be dangerous.
Yes.
Any of those true?
Yes, all the above.
So you're telling me as a citizen I should engage with that person who is potentially dangerous and looking for drugs?
I would say one of the lessons I learned from my sabbatical, and I wrote about in my book, is that there are homeless in houses as well as homeless on the streets. And a second life lesson I learned is that there are double standards in dealing with the homeless in houses as opposed to homeless on the streets. There is no movement to get rid of the homeless in houses. That's because most of their emotional homelessness is hidden behind their walls. They carry signs, but they're hidden, and the signs might say stubbornness, arrogance, revenge, abuse, but they're not as public as the signs which the homeless on the streets carry. And yet one of the lessons I learned is that compassion fits both categories of homelessness. And so if we learn to be compassionate with the homeless in our houses first, then that hopefully will fall over into how to be homeless with the compassion on the streets. There are mentally ill in houses. There are addicts in houses. There are people to be afraid of in houses, and I call them emotionally homeless. So the same categories you use to describe the homeless on the streets also fit the homeless in houses.
A couple of really quick points. If you remember a few years ago in the media, there was stories every night about the homeless, and there were national telethons, and you'd think the homeless problem went away because the media has just stopped covering it. Are you disappointed by that, and do you think that's had an effect on all of us?
I personally believe there's been great progress made in outreach to the homeless. I think the millennials, their consciousness has been raised about being more other-centered toward the homeless, about trying to make a difference in this one issue in our culture right now. So I tend to be rather optimistic that the homeless can become a path for cultural change rather than moving backwards.
And let me just end with the one email you got. You said it was the email that stood out to you more than anyone else because you know that you reached out and you touched someone.
Yes, a lady had read my book, and she lives in Washington, D.C. She commutes every day from Bethesda to Washington for work. And when she comes out of the metro stop, she has this favorite Starbucks cafe she goes into for coffee and then walks on to work. And she shared with me that for as long as she can remember, the same homeless man has been standing, leaning upside against the Starbucks cafe, and she has really not paid any attention to him except just to notice him in the corner of her eye. But after reading my book, one day she went into the Starbucks, got her coffee, bought a $5 gift card, came out, handed it to him, and said to him, "I hope this helps you to have a good day," and then walked on to work. She said she wouldn't have thought of doing that if she had not read my book or logged on to the website.
And so that's how it can change you too.
One person at a time.
And we have a bunch right here. Thank you very much,
You're welcome,
Father.
Larry.
I appreciate you being here. The book is Street Sabbatical, Life Lessons from a Contemplative Beggar with Reverend Father Paul Mast. We'll be back after this.